WWE Survivor Series is now in the rearview mirror, and one of the biggest questions coming out of the Thanksgiving tradition PLE is just who was the masked man that interfered in the men's War Games main event. He scaled the cage, hit CM Punk with a stomp, allowing Bron Breakker to spear the World Heavyweight Champion and give the heels the victory. Paul Heyman says he has nothing to do with the masked man, and the identity has yet to be revealed as to who he is. In this video, we're going to let you know 5 possible identities as to who the masked man could be and when he could be revealed. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling, and in this countdown video, we are going to be discussing just who is the masked man. You can see right there on the screen, the main event of Survivor Series was the men's War Games match, pitting Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, as well as the Usos and Roman Reigns against The Vision, Brock Lesnar, Drew McIntyre, and Logan Paul. The closing moments of the match saw, which you can see right there, this masked man scale the cage. There was visible confusion with both the babyfaces and heels being a bit uncertain as to what was going on. This masked man stared off with CM Punk and Bron Breakker, super kicked the World Heavyweight Champion. He then followed that up with a big stomp to CM Punk before quickly exiting the cage. This allowed Bron Breakker to hit a spear and pin the World Heavyweight Champion to get the victory. Since then, Paul Heyman has stated he knows nothing about who the masked man is or what his intentions were. In addition to that, we have yet to find out just who the man behind the mask is. Now, in this countdown video, we're going to let you know 5 possible identities as to just who is the masked man. Let's get straight into it with the obvious one. That is, of course, Austin Theory. I say it's the obvious one, not necessarily because of, the body, the shape, the outline. We're getting some very big Twitter detectives involved in all of this, but because that's what all the reports are suggesting. Prior to Survivor Series, there were reports that Austin Theory was going to be a member of The Vision. There were reports that Theory was going to join up with then World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins, and that Theory was going to be this person that was going to rejoin Seth Rollins in a faction. Of course, he was briefly a part of Rollins' faction when he was the Monday Night Messiah back in 2020, but that there was going to be this situation whereby the men's War Games match was going to be Seth Rollins, Bron Breakker, Big Bronson Reed, Brock Lesnar, and Austin Theory against a babyface team. Now, injuries caused a lot of that to change, specifically injuries to Seth Rollins. Of course, Seth Rollins got injured during his Crown Jewel Championship match against Cody Rhodes at WWE Crown Jewel Perth, resulting in him having to have shoulder surgery and vacating the World Heavyweight Championship. In addition to that, on the babyface side of things, Jacob Fatu also suffered a dental injury, having to get dental surgery. So he was planned for the match, but he was also removed from the match. This allowed Cody Rhodes to be added to the babyface team and Drew McIntyre to be added to the heel team, so plans changed. But it seems like plans maybe changed, but for Austin Theory, plans were just put on pause when it comes to his involvement with The Vision. So much so that straight after Survivor Series on Saturday, reports very quickly came out saying that Theory indeed was the man portraying the masked individual at Survivor Series, and he was the one that scaled the cage, and he was the one that attacked CM Punk. So seemingly, the plans for Theory to be involved with The Vision just got delayed and not necessarily scrapped altogether. PW Insider reported that Austin Theory was backstage, he was hidden, and he was sort of moved into place whilst the main event was ongoing. Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select also said that their WWE sources said that Austin Theory indeed was the man behind the mask. Now, this is where things get interesting, of course, because just because Austin Theory was portraying the man behind the mask at Survivor Series on Saturday, does that necessarily mean that he's going to be revealed as the man behind the mask? We'll have to wait and see. Theory, we haven't seen since the summer. He was out of action, seemingly with a bit of an undisclosed injury. His tag team with Grayson Waller, A-Town Down Under, quietly disbanded, even though there was months of teasers of them disbanding anyway. Grayson Waller is now involved with the New Day. So it seems as if all of the directions, all of the reports, all of the rumors, and the fact that he was portraying the person on the night would suggest that Austin Theory is going to be revealed as the guy, and he's going to be joining up with The Vision. But this is professional wrestling, and this is WWE, and I suppose anything is possible. Pivots and changes could happen, which we'll get into shortly. But before we move on to the next number on this countdown list, this video is brought to you in collaboration with all of our great affiliates. That includes NordVPN. Now, Survivor Series was this past Saturday. There is still WWE and AEW events that are remaining in December, arguably the biggest being John Cena's retirement match. John Cena is having his retirement match next Saturday on Saturday night's main event on December 13th. He's going to be facing either Gunther or LA Knight, the winner of the Last Time Is Now tournament. And what if I told you you can watch that show, John Cena's final match, for free? In the United States, you have to have a Peacock subscription. They're Peacock exclusive. They're not even on NBC anymore after the media rights deal changed with WWE PLEs going over to ESPN. Over here in the UK, we don't have Peacock, so we watch Saturday night's main event for free on WWE's YouTube channel, and you can too. All you have to do is get a VPN, like NordVPN, then change your location to over here in the UK, and then bang, you can watch it for free, saving yourself some money during this festive season. Use our code, use our custom link rather, you scan our QR code, that's nordvpn.com/WN365. Once again, that's nordvpn.com/WN365. The link's in the video description below, will be pinned in the comment section as well. You can get up to 77% off, plus 3 months extra, save yourself some money, support this channel in the process. Your support is much appreciated. Now, as I mentioned, Austin Theory seemingly was portraying the man behind the mask at Survivor Series. That's been confirmed by reports. There are rumors and rumblings that he is going to be revealed as the man behind the mask. But what if WWE realizes that this is getting a lot of traction here? This is getting a lot of people talking. WWE has been criticized for their lack of creative this year and poor creative choices and everything else in between. So what if they realize this is getting a bit of buzz and maybe WWE decides that, okay, Austin Theory portrayed the man on the night. Does he have to actually be revealed as the guy? Maybe we can actually extend this just a little bit. Maybe we can have someone else be revealed as the man behind the mask. Let's get into some names that could be revealed as the man behind the mask if it's not Austin Theory, beginning with the former World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins. Now, this seems very, 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 very unlikely, doesn't it? Why? Because Seth Rollins is hurt. Seth Rollins legitimately is out of action at the moment, and he was written off WWE television when the Vision turned on him on the Raw after Crown Jewel Perth. This was something that felt rushed at the time. That's because it was. The plan was for Bron Breakker, Bronson Reed, and Paul Heyman to turn on Seth Rollins later, but of course Seth Rollins got hurt, as I mentioned, at Crown Jewel Perth against Cody Rhodes, injuring his shoulder. This meant that he had to undergo surgery and was set to miss an extended amount of time. Therefore, he had to vacate the World Heavyweight Championship as well. Now, the reason I say, could it be Seth Rollins, is because that's what WWE kind of wants us to believe. We saw it when that masked individual scaled the cage and got in the ring. He hit Seth Rollins' move. He hit that super kick, and more importantly, he hit that stomp, trying to convince people that Seth Rollins indeed wasn't actually hurt and this was all part of a ruse, this was all part of a big plan. They were trying to effectively do the reverse of what happened earlier this year. If you recall, before SummerSlam, it was reported, and we saw it at Saturday night's main event, where Seth Rollins feigned a knee injury against LA Knight. And even the people in the back, the dirt sheets, the reporters, everyone else in between, the fans, they were told, Seth Rollins is hurt, he's got a legitimate knee injury, he's going to be out of action for some time. It was all a big work. It was later revealed that he didn't have a knee injury. He cashed in against CM Punk at SummerSlam, becoming the WWE World Heavyweight Champion in the process. This is the other way around. Seth Rollins, this time, is legitimately hurt, and for whatever reason WWE is trying to convince or work fans that maybe he isn't, and maybe this is all part of one big plan. Frankly, it wouldn't make a lot of sense. As you can see right there, the Vision turned on Seth Rollins, so why would he help them win the War Games match? Why would he do that? In addition, we've seen Rollins outside of the WWE bubble, wearing the sling, saying he's had surgery, which I guess is no different to what happened earlier this year when Rollins did something similar, where he appeared on, Good Morning Football and other shows and said, no, my knee's legitimately bad, I'm legitimately hurt. No, it's not a work, it's not a work. But this time around, I don't think WWE is going to fool a lot of people twice. I think it is just a case of them trying to distract from who the ultimate reveal is going to be. But You never know. You never know. It depends how long, I suppose, they extend this out. Rollins said he should be back in time for around February. Maybe there's a hope he could be back in time for WrestleMania. Who knows how long WWE decides to drag out this mystery identity storyline for? If it does go into January or February, who's to say it won't be Seth Rollins? As I mentioned, just because Austin Theory was portraying the person on the night, that doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be revealed as the man behind the mask. The Black Scorpion is the best example in WCW in the 90s, whereby it wasn't meant to be Ric Flair, but it ended up being Ric Flair, and plenty of other people portrayed the Black Scorpion, and then it ended up being Flair. So who's to say? But I think Rollins, pretty unlikely. Now, what if it's not Seth Rollins? What about Chris Jericho? Now, I know you'll say, Owen, he can't even legally be in a WWE ring at the moment. He's under contract to AEW. How could that be him? I'll tell you why, because this is pro wrestling and anything seemingly is possible in pro wrestling. Now, as I stressed, because Austin Theory was portraying the person on the night, it doesn't mean it can't later revealed to be Chris Jericho. Right now, Chris Jericho can't be involved with WWE because he is under contract to AEW. But what we do know is Jericho's contract is expiring at the end of the year. In addition to that, there have been a lot of rumors, a lot of reports about Y2J returning to WWE for the first time since 2018. The inaugural AEW champion has spoke up about a possible WWE return. There's frankly not more else that he can and needs to do in AEW. He's coming towards the end of his career, and a recent report suggested that WWE have even gone as far to pitch Y2J a retirement storyline, and that's what they would be interested in doing. So who's to say that it's revealed that Jericho was the one that aligned with the vision? Jericho is the one who is joining up with Paul Heyman, someone he does have a bit of history with. And who's to say that this isn't the beginning of Jericho's storyline? It kind of would be a little bit sort of tongue-in-cheek, kind of playing off that narrative that Jericho is this kind of clout vampire. You know, Jericho is this person who always kind of cozies up to young talent, always tries to leech off young talent to try and keep himself relevant. And that is something that he could do with the vision, isn't it? This is something that Jericho could do by, what do I do to stay relevant? What do I do to make a big impact? I know I'll, again, cozy up to people that are seemingly the future of WWE, like Bron Breakker. That's how I'll keep myself relevant. And maybe part of the retirement storyline is that eventually, long term, he puts over Bron Breakker and maybe Jericho's retirement match. Maybe the seeds are being planted for Y2J already wrapping up in WWE before he's even started. So Jericho seems like he's on his way back to WWE. Does that necessarily mean he's going to be involved with the vision? He's going to be involved in the storyline? Well, look, Jericho, when he comes in, if he comes in, will be one of the top names on the card. The Vision are one of the top acts on Raw, regardless of how you feel about it and the main event scene of whether it needs to be shook up or not. Jericho would slot in there quite nicely. Whether or not they're thinking that far ahead, WWE, I'm not too sure about. But Y2J, anything's possible, and I wouldn't even put it past Jericho to pitch something like that to make sure he's involved in the main event scene and he's involved in an angle that ensures he has the most eyeballs on him as possible if and when he makes his WWE comeback. If not Chris Jericho, what about Randy Orton? I did see a lot of people saying that that figure kind of looks a little bit like Randy Orton. And look, the Viper's been off WWE television for a little while after he was written off of an episode of SmackDown after he was attacked by the likes of Drew McIntyre. Once again, it's one of those ones whereby you say, does this make a lot of sense? Why would Randy Orton align with Paul Heyman? Why would Randy Orton attack CM Punk? Why would Randy Orton, again, align with the likes of Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed? That doesn't make a ton of sense unless it's a case of it wasn't about the Vision. It wasn't about CM Punk. It wasn't about Paul Heyman. It was about costing Cody Rhodes the match. Now, if he was really intent on costing Cody Rhodes the match, maybe the Masked Man would have attacked Cody Rhodes. And frankly, a lot of these names outside of Austin Theory do feel like a bit of a stretch, don't they? But we haven't seen the Viper for a while. It was Survivor Series, which, as you can see right there, a couple of years ago, is where he made his return. And everyone's waiting for Randy Orton to eventually turn on Cody Rhodes. I don't know if it would be as subtle as this, per se. But again, anything's possible, particularly as we get closer to WrestleMania, particularly as WWE is struggling with creative this year, and maybe they do throw a bit of a curveball that not many people are expecting. And finally, could it be someone from NXT, Tony D'Angelo? We've heard all of these rumors for a long time about NXT stars getting called up, particularly Tony D, who we haven't seen since the summer, since he was written off NXT programming, but then all's gone silent about that. Reportedly, he was backstage at maybe an NXT taping, but that's few and far between. I think he's done maybe one live event, and there had been rumors that he could get called up and he could be involved with the Vision, and the Vision's all about the future of WWE. It's all about, future stars, certainly something that Tony D could be associated with. So who's to say it couldn't be an NXT call-up? Again, just because it was Austin Theory on the night doesn't mean it can't be revealed to be someone else. Now, a lot of people have said, well, Austin Theory, that'd be a bit of an underwhelming choice. Could the same be said for someone like Tony D'Angelo? Maybe it's a bit less underwhelming in the sense it's someone that hasn't been on the main roster before, and it is someone new, and that is exciting. But if it had a lot of build-up, and I'm talking weeks or months of build-up, only to be revealed as an NXT superstar call-up, maybe that would be a bit flat. But at the same time, maybe that would be a real big spotlight way to feature a new call-up onto the main roster, and maybe that would be an indicator of how highly WWE does view the former Don of NXT. So there you go, guys. There are 5 possible names that could be the individual behind the mask that got involved in that War Games main event at Survivor Series. What are your thoughts? What are your predictions? Who do you think the person is? Let me know your thoughts, as always, in the comment section below. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.